guys, I want to say welcome this evening. It is fantastic to have you all here. Tonight we're going to be talking about how do you know? Just in a short space of time, how would you know that this property deal that is presented to you is in fact a good deal? So we're going to touch two components this evening. And, one of the things I really picked up from Biggerpockets, from Brandon Turner, is the 4-square method. Because all the information that we're going to put on this board just now when we're doing the calculations, I used to do in little strips like this until I saw Brandon and I'm thinking, why didn't I think of squares? But why? But nonetheless, so I've just borrowed his layout. Content is probably similar, well, knowing all things property. So like I shared, identifying a property to see whether it's going to be a good property investing opportunity is not always the easiest task when you've not been exposed to property investing education. I recall many of you would know my story. Those that don't, I started with the 2-bed, 1-bath way back when, and I had all sorts of tenants for over a period of about 7 years or so until I just got like here. And I'm like, you know what? Something gonna die tonight. I'm gonna push you out of the flat or something like that. But so many of my tenants taught me the lessons that I wish I knew then. But I'm thankful that I know them now because I can reflect back and really connect with people starting out, because what happens in a new discipline, right? We get excited about life and then we start talking in acronyms and then we think everyone around us actually understands all the blah, 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 because that's what it sounds like. Just think about when you started your job. Parts of you may have thought, well, I studied to be here, so I can kind of catch on. But then there was some of the on-the-job jargon that you're thinking, do I need a degree or what's going to happen here? Think back to when you started doing something that you felt like it intimidated the socks off of you. And then you started getting good at it. And then you hit the ground running. And then next best thing, you now speak the same Tekanese, that's what I call it, right? The same Japanese as everybody else around you because you are in that particular subject or in that particular discipline, and those that are not in there don't know it. So tonight I really want to try my best, like I usually do, even in the 8-10 minute videos that I've been dropping every day. Today's video is exciting, to say the least, because it was opening up some horns, but nonetheless, here we are. So I want to say, yes, earlier there was somebody that commented and I had a coaching session with her, and it's actually quite cool to see that you are on the session this evening. And we highlighted a couple of things, right? So as some of you will know, I talk a lot, but I want to jump into the topic like yesterday so that you're not here longer than an hour, or at least that you hear less than an hour. So yesterday I had this coaching session, and the one-on-one coaching sessions that I have, and if you want to know more about it, I'll show you at the end of the session, because this session is really just to help everyone here that's been inboxing me through a lesson, teach you how to find, or how rather to identify a deal. It's not about selling. That stuff just comes last for me. I learned that once I find my passion, everything else comes. And so this is where I'm rolling at, right? So yesterday in this coaching session that I had with one of the ladies that are present this evening, we had gone through a report that was given to her by the people selling this property. And one of the things I started picking up very quickly was that when someone sells something to you, they are wanting to show the best side of that particular property to you. And the best side, most times, is just the prices. So they put a whole lot of price comparables with the street address. And when we really dug into the crux of things, we started realizing, wait, all these prices are similar because they're building a case to show you this particular property is worth X amount. They're building this case, taking prices of the property that is sold in the neighborhood, but not necessarily in the same street, in the same property size, but in the same price range. And they put a nice nice, neat little report. And when I look through it, I'm like, oh, this report is so nice and sweet. And they want to show us that they are trying to match apples with apples. And what we found is that all the prices ranged in about the R1 million range. And eventually at the end of this, the summary was, as you can see, this particular property is in the R1 million range and therefore discounted. This is a bargain. You know, to the naked eye, it sounds like a bargain. But I want to share with you tip number one. When you find that a property practitioner, which is a real estate agent, is giving you a Lightstone report, there's two things I want you to look out for. First, the date of which that particular report was pulled out. Because yesterday, while we were in this coaching session, and I really hope you don't mind me using you as an example, but I'm not just going to call your name out, right? So I like to always use my latest go-to points because information is usually still fresh in my mind. So nonetheless, in this particular report, I want you to notice the first thing. When was that Lightstone report pulled out, right? Because the date that we were looking at yesterday was last year, May. And that worried me because then it's not showing me anything that has happened in the area in 2020 or late 2019 or anything like that. It just stops here at May. All right. So look out for that first thing, because if I want to show you the best of me, I'm going to show you what you only need to know. I don't show you everything else, just like a property, right? The second thing I want you to do is notice this. Every property has a size. I want you to go and double check how big is that property in square meterage, because on the Lightstone report, right on the top of the report, you will see the size of that property. Once you got the size of the property, you look at the map and you then say, my neighbors have sold, and you'll start comparing what other properties have the same size as the property I'm interested in. And those are the prices that you may start looking at for comparables. And I find that these two things are so very important, because sometimes if I'm comparing apples with curry, like it's got nothing to do with each other, right? Except if you're from Cape Town, because sometimes the Cape Townians put apples in the, no, let me not be naughty. But apples got nothing to do with curry. So if at the end of the day, I'm trying to sell you and overcapitalize the property that I'm selling you at a certain price, if I only show you prices, that's what you're going to believe. But when it comes to market comparables, you need to compare apples with apples to make sure the property you are interested in, the size of that particular property versus all the other properties that sold in the same price, in the same size range, then you know on market comparables that you are doing something interesting. And most times, guys, when you are viewing a property, you are going to find that the agent will give you the Lightstone report. All right. If you feel like, you know what, it's an outdated one, it's a little bit old, I want to do something new, then go to TPN, and I can show you very quickly how to go to TPN, just so that you know, hey, I've got new things in my toolkit and I want to verify the information that is in front of me. So as we will do, because this is why we love the computer, I am going to share my screen. We are going to go into Google, and this is what I need you to do. I need you to go to Google, which is TPN. TPN, by the way, my disclaimer is TPN doesn't pay me. This is the tools that I use. And at the end of the day, I find that sharing is caring. When you go in here, you will then click on shop, as I did. You'll go down to filter by, and you will go into the property reports. When you're in the property reports, then you are going to scroll down and look at the investor reports. And you say, you know what, I'm really interested in getting the investor report. And you will find that all you are doing is parting away with one beer money if you're sitting at home, not sitting in the pub, because a beer is still 28 Rand these days. I'm not sure, hey? They put a lockdown on us. But nonetheless, you'll click on generate report. And obviously I'm not logged in, so it tells me that I currently don't have any reports listed. You will click on generate report again, and you will go down to the suburb level and put in the physical address as you find on the report that may be given to you, so that you can then bring out the latest information. And it goes into great detail as to what's happening in the area. And so I'm wanting to say, for as little as less than 30 Rand, you'll then be able to also see a whole lot more information about that area from an investing point of view. And this is how you, in where you are, can determine on a market value in terms of my comparables, matching apples with apples. If the property I'm interested in is 500 square meters, am I looking at other properties that are 500 square meters, firstly in the street that I'm buying, before I start looking at neighboring streets? All right, because that is also an important factor. So really here on the first bit, like I was sharing, matching apples with apples is what I was wanting to share from that point of view. So I want to find out from you, I'm going to stop sharing, okay? I want to find out from you, has anyone done this before? Like the example that I've given you, to actually take notice of the reports that the agents are giving you. And if you have, I would love to hear from you in the comments below, so that we can engage. Because you know what, this evening is not just about me talking, because look guys, I can talk the hind legs of a donkey, and that's not what tonight's about, right? Hey Virginia, how you doing? Good evening, good evening. As you can see, we went straight into the training. We gave everyone just a few minutes to get in, so I'm so glad that you have made it. And Leilani says the best of the worst, you called it. Absolutely, absolutely. So the best of the worst comment was that, you know, oftentimes there's a lot of things that are really bad, but you'll take the nicest of the bad things to show the next person, to make them think, ah, it's not so bad anymore. But nonetheless, Puli, you haven't done that. Puli, I like the questions that you ask. I like the fact that you engage in the YouTube videos I post. And I'm trusting that that piece of information has helped you. So don't despair, my friend. You're here for training, and you're here just to say, how best can I move from where I am to really get structured in the space of property investing? Wonderful stuff. Virginia says no. Mohammed says, reception poor, will this be recorded? The answer is yes, yes, and yes again. And what I will do, Mohammed, is that I'm going to see how far I can edit this actual video and post it on YouTube, so that it's available for all the time for us to see. Will that be okay with you, Mohammed? What's happening in Durban, my friend? I must ask, because the last time Durban was giving you some beef as well, right? Ray says, I'm trying to get municipal value, but the website is not user friendly. You know, the municipal value is good to go on, Ray. But what I'm wanting to suggest from you is that when you are in the area, look at what we just spoke about, the low-hanging fruits. Sometimes from a real estate agent, you're going to get that Lightstone report. Or you can go on to TPN, so that you can actually see that particular size of property that I'm interested in, which will give you that information on the report, okay? And you then start looking for that, so that you can match apples with apples in your particular space. I know that, you know, the whole municipal stuff can be a little bit tricky where we are, but just don't hang only on one side of the fence, because sometimes the municipal value, yes, is a good guiding line, but you must also see in your area what things are going for, what's the movement. If you have to, this is the type of fishing I do. Let me let out some secrets here. Hey, Lucanio in Cape Town, thank you so much for making it this evening. So Ray, let me let out one or two secrets I do from a comparables point of view. When I'm driving in the area, I am interested in, like, okay, there's a couple of properties on sale here, right? I'm going to go and see this particular property, and I go view it. The agent gives me this report. right? They give me this report and I'm looking at comparables. I now want to start driving back in the area. This property sold, okay? Is there any other properties in that street at that time that is going for sale, right? If they are, I'm going to call the agent. Hi, I'm outside number 2 Smith Street and I see you're bored. I'm interested in coming to view this property. Could we do the viewing perhaps in the next 30 minutes or anytime closer? Because I am here already. You know what you're doing at that time? You're fishing, not just with the rod, PH fishing, you know, that sort of scamming fishing, because you want to go and view inside the property. Hey, why are they going for X amount and the rest of the area is not going for the same amount? What's going on in that house that particular seller believes the price that they've attached to the actual property is worth that amount? You start seeing what happens in the house, right? Because remember, when people are buying to stay, they are buying from emotion. So the heart jumps. Oh, this is my favorite color. Oh, this is the best ever. They're buying from this emotion. And then you go and you see other properties in the same street or closest to it, and you start seeing, oh, in this area, this is potentially what people do, and this is why it's going for the amount of money it's going. It gives you an idea on if you now find the ugly duckling in the street, you know, that not so nice house, the house that is empty with papers on it, grass high, looking a little bit run down type vibe. And then you are going to bring that up to market value by renovating it because you're interested in buying it from a property investing point of view. You've got these pictures in your mind of the emotions people are working with in the area. But there's also certain rules of thumbs a property investor would use. For example, when I first got into the house, the house we bought, I said to my husband, really, red walls, my guy, red walls. He says, Jen, we can paint them. So from a property investor point of view, what we tend to do is then gravitate towards those neutral colors that make the eye pop, makes a room look bigger, which is what we call BMW, beige, magnolia, and white. And when we play with these different colors from a property investing point of view, we also tap into the emotions of those that are first-time home buyers or home buyers wanting to stay in the area. So that's the sort of fishing that I'm talking about. So does that make sense, Ray? I trust that top tip is something for you. Exactly, Leilani. It's the river. Lay wanted to buy a piece of land, not because of the piece of land, but because of the river. And that's the emotion that we often buy from when we're buying a home. But from a property investing opportunity, we need to start like being a whole lot more sober, if I could call it, sober from emotions, so that we start looking at things differently. All right. Mohammed asked, Jen, can you do a video to help us get maximum value from TPN? Wow, that's going to be an interesting one, but I'm up for the challenge, Mohammed. Absolutely up for the challenge. So could I drop that particular video in September? Because all the different questions I've already mapped out for the rest of August, I'm working through day by day. Because as you can see, I was recording today and I was uploading today, just a little bit naughty. I'm 1 or 2 days behind. But if you give me that opportunity, I certainly will. But I will be able to share, Mohammed, from my perspective, because on TPN, what you will find is all sorts of things that's going to help you, right? TJ may be looking at commercial leases because some of the mixed use buildings that we have. And when I say mixed use, there's a block of flats in the top, there's shops on the bottom. So mixed use is commercial and residential, right? And then there's others that are just purely interested in lease agreements from a lease perspective. So oftentimes I do ask my students, what is your goal? What is your strategy? Because when we have that in mind, our focus then is to unpack those things that is going to work for us, for where we are and where we're headed. I trust that makes sense, but certainly I'm up to that challenge and I will do my best to put those things together. That's fine with you. Thank you so much. Appreciated. I like the other comments that, there's another comment I didn't see. Comments are happening very fast here. I'm sorry if I've missed your comment, But there was somebody that also said it's the first time here and they really happy with the training. I'm so glad. You know what? The one thing I've learned is that the more one gives from the bottom of their heart or from inside, the more we connect with people. So I'm really here to connect with people, and I'm really here just to share, you know what, guys, you don't have to go at it alone. TJ and I invested over 100,000 in our property investing education, something that we could least afford, but on one hand, but on the other hand, for where we are, we may not could have afforded it then. How's that for my English now? But where it set us apart now is a very, very different space. So, ladies and gents, I'm going to get into the board behind me. Tando says, I like the residential and commercial idea, Jen. Yes, there's because in TPN, there's so much, you know. I remember at the beginning of lockdown, who that is in the training today was here for the beginning of lockdown. You see, in the beginning of lockdown, or should I say a couple of days before lockdown, I decided to create this group to create a bit more movement on online training, not even knowing what was coming our way with the hard lockdown that we went into in the end of March. And for 3 days, each evening we pitched up, and it was like delivering information, and 9-10 hours of content later. 3 of those hours are free on my website. So if you go to genevievejack.com, I'll drop it in the comments later. You will then be able to see the free investment training in about 3.5 hours of which is on there. Now, the point of that part of the comment is that of that training, we had the beautiful Silna Stain, who is one of the attorneys that takes care of the lease agreement at TPN. We had her online guiding us from when I buy my property, should I buy it using a company, in my personal name, in a trust? How is it going to work for us? But we also tapped into COVID because it was something brand new, as we all know. And having, you know, in that space, what TPN did was, let me go into their amazingness, right? And again, I don't get paid by TPN, but I love the fact that we can share information. When you go to tpn.co.za, you scroll down. At the beginning of COVID, this is what we were also unpacking at that training. So you can see the rental recovery pack and what goes into there. And this is the type of thing that why I say like TPN on an extensive note of all that it offers. Maybe, just maybe, I could make friends with Michelle Dickens. Like, that's a big one. Yeah, that's a big one. But let's be brave. What if I managed to make friends with Michelle Dickens? And she, you know, I call her the godmother of TPN. And what if I could just steal a few minutes of her time? I promise if I get that right, I'm going to post it on this group and I'm going to post it on YouTube, just so that you can get that feel and also that answer towards Mohammed's question. Okay, cool. So now that I've done that particular sharing, ladies and gents, let's see. Oh, it's my first, but I'm a stayer. I'm here to learn. I love it. I'm glad I found your page. It's really helpful. That is wonderful, wonderful stuff. And then Tando, we had already read your comments. So ladies and gents, methinks that's about 25 minutes that we got into the first component, right? Now here's the second component. I want to find out, does anyone have the pen and paper? Okay. You may want to write notes, or you may want to come back. I promise this video, I will leave it in the group. Some videos I take down. This one, I'm going to leave in the group because I'm also going to add this particular video, slightly edited on YouTube, because I also don't want too many long videos on YouTube. But here is the second way of how do I know that this is a property investment opportunity? How do I know? How do I identify it just by merely the numbers that a real estate agent has given me? First, we've established that with the Lightstone report, right? The second component is you're going to be asking some questions after we've done this exercise. So now let's learn how to identify a good investing deal by way of calculation. You know, we've got a deal calculator and an Excel sheet, and that's what I use for my students. But to just give everyone a taste and breakdown of that calculator, this is why I like this. All right. So what we're going to first ask, right? Let's see, who can we ask to use as an example? Ray, give me an example of a property that you've gone to view and you may be interested in. What I need from you, Ray, give me the rental income amount. If you've done your homework, if you buy this house in this area, right? What is the rental in that area for that kind of property that you're looking for? So Ray, while you are answering that, I am going to write to make sure that I can at least see here on the board, right? Because I don't want to be writing next to myself and I'm talking by myself. No. So here we write income. So Ray, did you share with me in a property that you may be interested in, what could be the rent in that particular area? Right. Just gonna give that just a quick sec. Let's see if Ray is still with us. Okay, if Ray's not with us, then I'm just going to thumb suck an amount. Because right now, I want us to actually deal with an amount that we know. If Ray doesn't answer in the next minute or so, I would love that anybody answers. Say, Jen, you know, I'm interested in this property and it's 5,000 Rand rental in that area. So Ray says it's 6,000 Rand for a 3-bedroom. I love it, Ray. I was just being too fast. No. Okay, so Ray says in this particular area, rental, no, I like to write with different colors, right? My rental is 6,000 Rand. And this is for a 3-bedroom. Okay, Ray? While you're at it, right? What I'd like you to do in the meantime, think about the utilities that come with this property. Meaning, what is the electricity, the rates and taxes, any utilities that come with that particular property that we're talking about. And I'd love you to start putting the comments, putting that answers in the comments right now, because this is what we're going to use in the next block. All right. So here we have a house that Ray is interested in this area in sunny Durban, potentially in Ballito, who knows, because Ray is around from that area. And now he's interested in this 3-bedroom and he's going to buy this property, and the rental in that area is 6,000 Rand. So we've got the 6,000 Rand. Ray, in that area, tell me, on that particular property, is there something in that property that collects additional cash flow? This is what I mean. You know, some properties you buy and the owner has sectioned off a garage and you can come and store your goods there. Sometimes owner will say, you know, on my property, because it's a sectional title and I own a 4-flat block, this particular parking lot is bringing in money. So if you park your car, you pay me 30 Rand a month. I've seen it. It's a true story. I can make up so many things so far, but not so ridiculous. So is there anything else in that particular property that may be of interest to you that you could make money from? All right. Ray, you are on the ball. Okay. Ray, while I ask that question, what I'm going to then do is go down to this block. I'm not finished with that block because I've asked Ray the question, right? Guys, I wanted this to be real time because it's not about me. Okay. Would you agree that it's not about me this evening, right? So Ray says, for this particular house that I love, Jen, the rates are 1,600. The electricity is 1,900. And the levy is 1,200. So I figure, because you're talking about levies here, right, that this could be potentially a townhouse because we're talking about levy. Sectional titles come with levies. If you've got a standalone house, it doesn't have a levy. Not unless somebody bought the land, subdivided the land, built on the two on the land like that. But for most, if it's a freehold, which is a freestanding house, it doesn't come with the levy. Now, while Ray answers about this one, right, I want you to think right now, the properties that you are interested in, what other expenses come with this property? Okay, I want you to just think about it. Drop it in the comments. Tell me what other expenses come with this particular property while Ray answers for us. So Ray, say for example, you bought this property. On market value, how much would this property be? If you bought it today, cash money, how much would that property be? A house in the Gulf Estate, I love it. How much would that property be, Ray, on market value if you bought it today? Cool. While we're waiting for Ray, we're going to find out how much would the bond be. You see, guys, when we are buying property, it will go, the explanation will go very, very quick. So 1.3. So on a bond of 1.3, I almost sounded like someone we know. On a bond of 1.3, I would then say at average, the bond repayment back at 10% would be about 13,000 Rand. Would it be fair to use 13,000 Rand as a bond repayment? I reckon it would be kind of fair for want of a 13,000 Rand. Okay, now what's interesting right now is that everyone else sat down and thought, but by the way, what other stuff would I be paying? Pule has mentioned maintenance. Okay. Leilani says gardening, general maintenance. Pule also says insurance. What about if you've got a portfolio of properties? What about property management fees? Okay. What about property management fee? Insurance is a very important one, by the way. What about if your tenant shows you flames and decides to move out in the worst of times? Right? That's vacancy, which we also call a void. Mohammed, you're a rock star, my guy. Mohammed was like, I'll put you to book, Jen. You don't know calculations very well. 12,545 Rand would be the bond. We're working with real life scenarios here. I love it. High five. High five. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Okay. There's going to be quite a few things that goes here, right? But from a property investor point of view, yes, your utilities and your financing costs for this particular property, right? But you want to know that you've got maintenance. Why? Because as Leilani mentioned, what about gardening services, right? What about the wear and tear of the property? But now also I want to say, what about, I call it capital and expenditure. What about the house needing a good lick of paint after 10 years? What about a roof replacement over some time? In your working out of your calculations, you want to see into the future, right? So most times maintenance goes for about 10%. And of this 10%, Part of this money will go for your maintenance, like really the upkeep of the property, and the rest of it will be stowed away into a young little account for just that day ish hits the fan. Now, insurance is also another thing that a lot of people forget about, and something that I've learned from a what do you call them, an insurance consultant. He said to me, you know, Jen, to keep an insurance amount on top of your mind when you're working with an estimation, always work with about 500 Rand to insure a property of 1 million. So now our property, just now we heard from Ray that our 3-bedroom property, our 3-bed costs us 1.3, right? That's what our 3-bed cost us. So now in the mathematics that my consultant, insurance consultant friend, we can then average and say maybe the insurance will be roughly about 700 Rand. Okay? And we keep that 700 Rand. In the world of property management, is there any property managers in the house? Hanneli, I saw you just now. Yeah? I saw you just now, Hanneli. How much is property management cost on a percentage? And while Hanneli is going to respond to us if she's still back, if she's still around, Mohammed threw in things like, Mohammed, you're on a roll today, my guy. Rental insurance. You know, there's a company called House Me that also offers rental insurance. At one stage when I just got into property investing, to get into the more complex places, I actually worked for them, and I would take pictures and do like very aesthetic, what do you call it, property inspections. You know, that general wipe over with the eyes, take some pictures, wada. And what I knew about them is that they've got a rental insurance, right? So you may want to put in rental insurance. So Hanneli, from a frost peak perspective, 10%. Hanneli is on the ball. Okay. Now there's a whole lot of things that are going on here. I want to stop at this point so that I don't overdo the fun stuff. But you guys can see where I'm going because you answering and you're quite on point with stuff, right? So I would like Mohammed, our master mathematician, to put all these numbers together in a sum and give me the total expenses. And this is where I'm going to put in some stuff, right? Here, for now, I don't know guesstimations for rental insurance. So these, the 5% for vacancy, the 10% for maintenance, and the 10% of property management is generally 10% of the rental income. So this, if I put it into another color, 10% here is 600 Rand, 10% here is 600 Rand. Mohammed, what is this one? Could I then assume it's 300 Rand? Me and my mathematics, this is why I've got a calculator. My mind works fast, but sometimes the calculator is on point for me. So let's say, for example, that, right? So now I would like that Mohammed gives me the total expenses, or should I say the total monthly expenses? So we'll say total expenses monthly. So we put 161912, 12 and a half, 600 plus 600 plus 700 plus 300. What is the total monthly expenses here, Mohammed, when you put all of those things together? We are depending on you, my guy, before I take up my calculator. And I'm like, if you were in the class, I would have said, Mohammed, you are the mathematician for the day. Actually, you are in the class. Why am I being a joker? So Mohammed, when you put all of these together, if there's anyone else that can put this together faster than Mohammed, tell me, what is the total monthly expenses when we look at perfect? You see, our guy is on point. So in the total monthly expenses, we've got 18,745. That plus 700 Rand, is that for the insurance, Mohammed? Did you include the insurance in there? Let's see if Mohammed included the insurance in there. We'll see that in a moment. If that's plus the insurance, then Mohammed, give me the new figure. I'll scratch that one out. But while Mohammed is puzzling over that one, so it's 19,445. This is what happens when training is not planned, guys. We work on things. I love it. Ricardo, you reckon me on fire here, my guy. So the total monthly expenses is 19,445. Now, I want to show you a simple calculation. We start asking, if I bought this property that's a 3-bed, right, in Belito, and it's in the Gulf Estates, and it is worth 1.3 million. On a monthly basis, I'm paying a bond of 12,545, and I'm paying all these other expenses. This is the place where many new property investors or aspiring property investors, just like myself, where we get our knickers in a knot. Why? Because we don't consider all of these things, and then we start subsidizing. Subsidizing is the devil. That's what I call it. Now we want to find out what is our cash flow if I go and I rent out my 3-bedroom property in this Gulf Estate. Sorry, guys, maybe I should write cash flow down here. Do you see? No, you don't see it there. So if I say cash flow down here. Okay, so that's our cash flow block. So then what we're going to then do and say, you know what, there I've got tenants. My tenants pay me rental income, right? So the rental is 6,000 Rand. My expenses, total monthly expenses, is 19,445 Rand, which then means my cash flow. This is my cash flow. I'm in such a negative cash flow, it isn't even funny anymore. Our negative number here is 13. I'm just going to do it like that. No, it is right, isn't it? Our negative cash flow, our negative cash flow is 13,445 Rand. So in the traditional way of property investing, we end up supplementing this amount. And then we are encouraged, don't worry, you know what? Buy this property because over time, there's going to be capital appreciation, meaning the market prices are going to go up by X percentage. And over a period of time, your rental income is going to start going higher. And this money, as it increments by 10% every year, this negative cash flow decreases by that 10% every year. And you're going to come to a point where your rent is going to cover all your expenses and you will be a happy person after supplementing how many years? 13,500 Rand. Is that investing? And this is what I want you to do. Do an exercise like this, because from a property investing point of view, right, what you actually want to do is land up with a positive number here. Because when you land up with the positive number here, then you can then start translating, hey, this property is working for me. So how many of you have been here? Can I raise my hand first? I was there for a long time, but that was BC, or should I say BP, before property investing. So BPI, maybe start making up acronyms today, ne? But anyway, before property investing, I was that person that was supplementing my levies. Come winter, Jesus, take the wheel. Then my tenants will tell me, no, you know what, this caretaker is getting used to me now. This is why they take the wrong meterage and what. I take care of, I take care, and I'm really just, I take care and I don't abuse it. There were so many stories, guys. It used to frustrate me. It used to frustrate me because I knew that come winter, between May and September, I needed to at least have about 2.5 to 3,000 Rand on the side for that period of time monthly. Why? Because I was firstly in a negative cash flow, and secondly, winter hit, then I was hit with stories as well. How many are you with hit with stories of the same kind? You say to yourself, I'm so frustrated, I'm so done, I'm so irritated. I don't know why I'm not cash flowing. This is my property investing opportunity, but it's really messing me, screwing me 12 ways to Sunday. And you're absolutely right, Hanley. It's not a good investment opportunity as well at all. And you says, so Mohammed says that the problem here is that the expenses are more. All right. So it takes a lot more time to recoup. Virginia explains that no, it's not. You're actually working on a negative. And that's quite correct, right? Mohammed was there. I was also there, my guy. I was so mad. The one day I said, I wonder what it would feel like if I just pushed somebody from the 6th floor, because that's where our flat was, on the 6th floor. Now, I understand that this scenario, Ray, we didn't mean to butcher your stuff apart, but I wanted a real life scenario of something that somebody may be looking at. And when I first look at this, right, the first thing that is my alarm is that if I am buying a property, a 3-bed, at this amount of money, and I'm only charging 6,000 Rand, why is 6,000 Rand a rental option in this area? Who else is in a negative cash flow like this in the same Gulf estate? I also understand a Gulf estate for 6,000 Rand. I'm just saying. But is that not the reality many of us face, right? So what I love that you would do, right? I want you to think of the property that you are interested in. I want you to go on property 24, because that's usually where I go, or anywhere else where you can verify what the rental income in that area is for your comparable, for your 3-bedroom. Okay, if you are interested in a 3-bedroom, it's your 3-bedroom. If it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, it's your 2-bed, 1-bath. We're not comparing prices, we're comparing apples with apples. 2-bed, 1-bath, 2-bed, 1-bath, right? 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath. And sometimes, and only sometimes, when those comparables are not there, then you can play with it like closest to each other, right? Closest to each other. And then you start asking, the rent that I pay and the amount of the bond for this particular property and expenses, if I say my rental income minus my monthly expenses, how much of a cash flow does it give me? Now here, let's play a young game. Let's say in this scenario, I want to nullify this one because I want to complete this side of the square. Let's say, for example, we worked all of this out and the rental minus the expenses, we were sitting at, where's another color? Red, I've done, black. Okay, let's say for our new case study, if we went through this whole process, if our new case study said my cash flow is 1,200 Rand per month, okay? Say this was a new case study, and at the end of it, we get to 1,200 per month. Now, what we're wanting to see, the money that we invested in this property, does the money that we invested in this property work for us? What do we actually want to see? We want to see what is our cash on cash return on investment, meaning, is my money that I put into this property investing opportunity, is it making babies? I wanted to say that. My husband often says, making babies. But anyway, is the money that I'm putting in this deal making money? That's all the cash on cash ROI is. This is like just really surface level, guys. There's different types of return on investment for the strategy one is after. We want to work out something very basic in today's world. Am I getting my babies from the money I put in here? And what we want to do is say, in our new case study, we're hypothetically saying we actually got a positive cash flow of 1,200. So we want to say Genevieve, our monthly cash flow is 1,200. Okay, we want to annualize that. We want to say times 12. What will we get on a yearly basis? Is Mohammed still there with us? Is Durban okay with the internet there? So while Mohammed is waiting to give us this, I want to give it its name. So here we're saying our monthly cash flow is 1,200 times 12, which then is our annual ROI. Right? Let me see if I'm calling it the right thing. Because me, a shame I can give things names, eh? It's our annual cash flow. I'm very good at giving things names because in my mind, I know exactly what I mean. And this is training, so it's not about me. Remind myself. So our annual cash flow. Mohammed, what is our annual cash flow? 1,200 times 12. What is 1,200 times 12? I want our annual cash flow. What is our annual cash flow? 14,400. Mohammed, you know what? Mohammed, you are so in here. When you are finished the property investing boot camp, I am going to give you a coaching session for free. Remind me, ne? So thank you so much for being the calculator. You know, those that take action, things happen for them. So it's 14,400. So on a yearly basis, my annual cash flow is 14,400. Now, I first want to work out what is the total amount of money that I invested in my hypothetical cash, in my hypothetical new case study that gives me 1,200 per month. All right. How would I work out what is my total amount that I've invested? What do I first want to find out? I want to find out things like, oh, perfect, you will. You must tell me, Jen, I'm ready for that session. Okay, wonderful. So now I want to know how you're going to work out how much money you invested. First, did you pay a deposit for this property? Did you pay a deposit? Okay, did you pay a deposit? Then I want to know how much was my closing cost. Now, just a quick moment. What are closing costs? Some people may ask. The closing cost is, now you bought this property, right? In buying this property, there's transfer fees that need to happen. Meaning, the property ownership is taken from the seller's name to the buyer's name, which is your name. Then there's bond fees because F&B, Standard Bank, whichever bank it was, gave you this bond. They gave you the loan to value that you required for your property. So those are your closing fees. If anyone wants to work out what your closing fees are, you can go to Uber. I almost said ooba.co.za. Click on calculators and click on transfer costs. But if you go into any one of the financial institutions, platforms, you'll find these calculators as well. And that will be able to show you, it'll ask you a couple of questions and it will give you the potential closing costs. And because you are a property investor, there may be renovation involved. And your renovation, your cost must be there as well, right? Renovation. So this is how you are working out how much money did I invest, and my rental and expenses give me a cash flow of 1,200, and annualized, my annual cash flow is 14,500. These are the different components that you generally want to understand. So what was my total investment amount. What was my total investment amount? And on a hypothetical situation, what do we want to say? The last one that I did was 120,000. Let's give it 120,000. Okay, the last deal that I brokered. The total investment cost, the deposit, the closing cost, including renovations, was 120,000. Now what you want to do, you want to take, let me not get too excited with all these colors. You can still see I've got some space there at the bottom. Cool. Now I want to take, is my money actually working for me? I want to then say my annual cash flow, which is, oh, Genevieve, which is 14,400 Rand divided by 120,000 times 100. And it usually gives you a percentage. Mohammed, can we call on you again? Could we call on you, Mohammed? Sourcing fee. Oh, my sourcing fee on this one. What was it? I think it was 15 or 17. I can't remember, but it was a quick deal. I knew I didn't put in, I didn't sweat. Yeah, I didn't sweat too much. I did sweat, but not too much. Anyway, but this was from the stuff that I worked out. Mohammed, 14,400. Woo, Genevieve is being like somebody we all know here. 14,400 divided by 120,000 times 100. Mohammed says 12%. All right. So now I want to know from this new case study that I did, my cash on cash, my money that I invested, which is 120,000 because the bank financed the deal. So that's not my money, it's the bank's money. I want to know that 120,000, if I put it in the bank tomorrow, will the bank give me 12%? Okay? If the bank says, hey, 4%, this 12,000 is looking good, right? But what if I play stocks, what, ne? And I put this 120,000 in today, and I don't even have to wait for one full year to get this 12% return on investment. What if the stock market gives me 15%? Then that's not quite a good deal. So I get this question from a lot of new or aspiring investors. Is 12% enough? Is 15% enough? The question I want to ask you, which is then closing off these numbers, these calculations we were doing, what is your goal? Because your goal and my goal are two different things. What is your strategy? Because again, your strategy and my strategy is different. Look, guys, I got in stupid debt. My husband and I were in 5 million debt. So when we got into property investing, we were already wishing upon a star that we could actually be investors, okay? But that star was called creative finance. And so we needed to start striking up sourcing deals, joint ventures, looking for angel investors, and that sort of thing. And we needed to also apply the education that we got to our situation and say, how can we fix our budgeting system, get rid of the liabilities and things like that to take that 5 million down to something reasonable, which is also something that we did, right? Because when you get in education, it's not only how much can I make from there, it's how can I apply what I've learned to get this number down to a reasonable fee or reasonable amount so that the credit is not choking me. So this 12% in your world might be like, not so grand anymore. But in my world, it could be, yeah, baby, if I'm not putting any money into this deal, for damn sure. Why? Because knowing the investor I am, if I did a joint venture on this deal, I would have found the deal, done the legwork, put the skill on the table, and then gone to find an investor to give me that 120,000. all right, and do the most in this particular situation. So it all goes back to what strategy are you after? And that's why when you will find whoever you may speak to, if they can give you a straightforward answer that yes, that 12% is good enough, it's good enough in their perspective, in their space of the world. You know, I can remember when I started off sourcing deals, finding deals for property investors. Many property investors said, oh no, at the bank, I'm going to get 100% loan to value. And guess what? And by no fault of their own, either their negotiation skills didn't end up working out well, something flopped, but 9 out of 10 investors eventually paid either 10% because the bank gave them 90% loan to value. Some of them paid 20% because the bank gave them 80% loan to value. And then I started working on a what you call a guideline of whenever I get deals for investors, I'm going to make sure it's an 80% loan to value, sometimes strike it up to 95% loan to value, but at least I'm going to give them something to work with. But is this in line with where they're going to? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So the question always goes back to, is your money that you're investing making the babies that you want? And if 12% is the baby that you're looking for or more, then this deal may be good for you in this hypothetical case study that could have given us 1,200 per annum. So I trust that today's lesson, ladies and gents, is something that you can carry with you. Maybe some people will say, you know, Jen, I'm not really ready for property investing yet, or whatever the case is, or I'm scared. There's a lot of fear that goes on. I know I did things afraid. Half the time I would talk a lot just to convince myself that I'm doing the right thing until I was confident in my education. But we all go through different things in different phases. And here are 2 methods that you can use in today's world by actually saying, will this work for me? Can I identify that this particular property that's been put together so beautifully, is this in fact a property investing opportunity? So on that note, I want to close off by saying 2 more things. But before I say those 2 more things, is there anyone with any questions in the house? I like that one. So while, if there's anyone that's got any questions, please drop it down in the comments. I'll answer those questions while I'm still online. We're exactly 1 hour into the session, and I really want to say thank you for your participation. Ray, thank you so much for us using your particular example. Mohammed, thank you for being the calculator. Cash in on your coaching session, which is worth 997 Rand. You will get that recorded as we go through whatever it is that you want to go through in that particular deal. However, the only condition is you must have finished the property investing boot camp that you won, because what? You play with us on YouTube. You watch and you learn and you apply the knowledge that you learn. So the 2 things I wanted to say, there are a few people that commented on a post I asked at the end of July. I said, with Women's Month coming up, how could I meet you somewhere? Could I, if you know the products that I have, how could I meet you somewhere, right? And there was a few people that said, oh, Jen, I would be interested if you make product XYZ on special. So I want to share that one. Okay, I'm not, for me, it's not about selling here, but to share that I made up my mind with you guys because many of you said, what, Jen, can we have the finding, analyzing and closing deals? Okay, so I went a little step further. So if you go to my website, which is genevieve-jack.com, you'll see that there's different ways to get in here. You click on online courses, right? There's a number of online courses. Earlier, I spoke of the free course. This is the free course that we did in this group. Like literally, I think it was the 28th, 29th, and 30th of March. And then three people went on to win group coaching. And that group coaching and all the prizes I gave over those 3 days were worth well over 100,000. So I felt that while the others are giving millions of rands, millions of dollars, I was able to play my part by imparting and giving education to people that are after education. So of that content, you can go and click watch now. You don't need an email address. You don't need to register. If you register, it's your own preference, but you don't need to. For those that were saying to me, you know what, Jen, can you make the finding, analyzing, and closing property deals course, could you make that one go on special for Women's Month? That's what I did. Okay. Usually, if you go into the shop, you'll see how much it is. But this one is 3,997. That's the special price. What I've done then, the bonus pack, if you've not done the property fundamentals course, I've thrown this one in for gratis, for free. So you go through that particular fundamentals course, and there's usually a 20-minute call for me to answer any unfinished business that you may have there, right? In this particular course, you also get 2 personal coaching sessions on a date of your choice, just like Mohammed, okay? So we'll have this conversation on Zoom. I'll record it when we're done. I'll upload it and send you the link so that it's downloadable. In this course, there's also other bonuses on the lessons that we go through. You'll get the property checklist with questions that I usually ask the real estate agents. Then you get the deal calculator, because we learn how to find property opportunities, learn how to run numbers. We talk about negotiating and networking, how important it is. And then we start talking about suspensive conditions, on what conditions will you put onto the offer to purchase to close that deal. And if you're one of those people that said, Jen, this is it, this will be $399 until the last day of $3,997 until the last day of August. You just say, take this course. And when you say take this course, it will take you down into the shop, and then you are able to check out. And so you can see the discounted price. I said, how can I help? And this is my way of helping. And then you could go into the shop to see other stuff that is there. That's really not my big thing this evening, but it's just really to make you aware. Another session I did today where somebody just wanted to run numbers. Yesterday with Leilani, we did an analysis and we did running numbers, and we were able to go through this information. So I'm going to stop right there so that it doesn't become a sales fest, but just information shared, especially to those that said, Jen, I'm keen. I really want to learn the nitty-gritties. But for those of you that say, you know what, Jen, in time, look, guys, no hard feelings. It's all about giving as best as I can. I see there's some of my group coaching students that are here as well. Viva, thank you for making it after the session last night. We had quite a stomping session last night as well. So let us see some of the questions. Bruce Lee says, thanks for the learning. I really enjoy the session. I am so glad that you have, and welcome to the property investing family. Mohammed says, thank you, Jen. I really enjoy the session. Sometimes I only see the recordings. It's always better with the live and interactive session. Absolutely. And that's why with you taking action, answering the way you did, my guy, you got yourself a whole session worth 997. Leilani says, question, what auction house would you recommend? Leilani, truth be told, I'm not good in auction houses. There's none of them that I would know, because I am slightly scared of auctions. And here's why. I'd never been to like a Sheriff HQ auction. I'd been to a private one with very few people, and it's just the way things happen. Yes, you can go around taking pictures, whatever, because it was a private one, and my heart jumped like, ooh, didn't work for me. However, what I will do is I'll find out from TJ. There was an auction house that we used to sell off some of the deals that we had in Kempton Park, meaning we bought it, we renovated it, and because we learned that within 21 days, that particular auction house actually can sell your property at a much cheaper rate than a real estate agent. I'm going to find out that name from TJ, and that's the closest interaction I've had with an auction house. Because personally, I just believe with all the methods that I found while going through education, being bruised, walking into the wall, I was frustrated when I was just told to go and find a distressed property. And I asked, what does it look like online? Because there's desktop research. What does it look like online, right? And the answers were just not palatable for me. And so with all the ways I found on finding property investing opportunities, this is why I never visited an auction house, ever. Besides that, and the fear, truth be told, that fear, oh, Jesus, take the wheel. I've got 12 stories to tell you about that one. Stephen says, thank you for this fantastic session. Is it possible in South Africa to get the seller to finance your closing costs by factoring that in the asking price? So look, on this one, that's a brilliant question. On this one, I've never done it. I've heard that it can be done. How? I would be lying to give you the mechanics of it. So there I'm wanting to say, sorry, I don't have an answer, but that could potentially be something, because remember when somebody decides seller finance is my way, seller finance is my truth, seller finance is the thing that I want to do, right? From a selling point of view, because I'm in so much twang, I'm in so much nonsense, I may just be able to swallow anything from a selling point of view, if you know what I mean. So maybe try it, have a conversation with TJ. I know he's done a number of seller finance deals, but I've never heard if the closing costs were included in there as well as a negotiating tool. Anything's possible. I negotiate the socks off of me. Sandra says, thank you, Jen. I really enjoyed it and I want to learn more. I'm interested big time. Virginia says, thank you, Jen, for the session. You have given us a lot, much appreciated help. Sandra also says, I started by doing rooms in my property and I'm hoping to go further into big property so I can see with your help, I can get there. Thanks so much. Lay says, thank you, Shren. You know, it's nice when you have personal little tidbits with people. So I love the fact that many of you, I've recognized your names from the interactions, many of you from the questions that you ask, some that you've come into the group. And just my departing point is I've got another 47 people that I didn't allow into the group. I was allowing people into the group up until 7 o'clock, just so that they could get into this training, because some of them said, you know, they know this training because of a friend. But if you're inviting your people, encourage them to answer the question. And here's a simple thing why. You come into the group, you read the rules of the group, then at least it gives me comfort that you've read those questions, you read the rules, and then you understand why we're here. A lot of the times we get inboxed whenever we're in any groups. I'm not saying that I'm protecting you from all the big bad wolves out there, but all I'm saying is I have incorporated a day where people can literally come onto a post like we did yesterday and advertise their wares. I cannot protect us all from all the crowd one people or other network marketing. I'm not against network marketing. I'm in network marketing myself. I'm just not loud about it. I know where to put my wares. So I really just want to make sure that as far as I can, you don't get mixed messages about property investing in a group. And when we do chat, if we can chat on a post, everyone comments on that particular post, then at least there's comfort in, you know what, there's a number of us chatting here. And if there's others that oppose the information or agree, we're able to say yay or nay. But nonetheless, I want to say thank you so much, ladies and gents. It's been fantastic. You are awesome. Any questions, drop me an inbox. Anything else that you need, just let me know. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. I will do again a poll to find out what training could I come through with in September, the month of spring, so that I can help you identify where you are and where you're heading. So on today's Learn How to Identify a Good Property Investing Deal, I trust that you enjoyed those strategies. So you take care. God bless. And I promise to see if there's any other questions that I may have missed to answer, but I did try my best to be as interactive in the comments while I'm training as well. Take good care. Be safe, as I believe. Please be safe. You know, my child washes her hands after the bathroom and she still comes to sanitize. The sanitizing is within us. So please be safe, be good. God bless.